Joining me live is Tourism and Trade Minister Don Farrell here in the studio. Thanks for your time. You've had a delegation out in Australia, you've been meeting, or you're going to meet today with your Spanish counterpart as well. Are you more or less confident of an imminent trade deal with the EU?
Thanks, Tom. Look, I'm very confident that we're going to get a trade deal in good time. As you've said, we had a group of European parliamentarians out here a few weeks ago. They were extremely positive about our prospects. At or about the same time, I met the French trade minister. Again, he was extremely positive. And as you've said, I'm meeting the Spanish trade minister today. I think the game changer in all of these negotiations is the decision by the Americans to give priority to Australian critical minerals in their electric vehicles into the future. This gives us a very good negotiating position, I believe, with the Europeans. We want access to their agricultural markets for things like our meat.
And so what the quid pro quo is more of those metals that are so sought after? Yeah,
so at the moment, just like we've had too many of our eggs in the China basket, so too have the Europeans. And they realise that if they can't get access to alternative sources of critical minerals, then they'll be totally reliant on the Chinese market.
Okay, and yet for that need, you said in good time. That doesn't seem imminent, that language.
Well, look, I don't want to put a particular date on it.
Are we years away still?
No, not years. And it was very much the wish of the Europeans that we resolve this by early next year. The reason for that is that by the end of the year, there are some European elections. They want this finalised by that.
Okay.
And of course, we want that
before there are new members in, so get it done then.
Yeah.
Okay. Are they asking at all for help on gas? I don't think we provide it directly, but indirectly, given what's happening with Russia and Ukraine?
That hasn't been one of the items that they've raised. They've raised a few other items like our luxury car tax.
They want us to get rid of that?
They want us to get rid of that. They've raised some issues like the geographical indicators on things like feta cheese, of all things, would you believe? We haven't indicated any support for those changes, but...
They're on the table, basically.
This is a negotiating process. We know what we want. I mean, that's the big trick about a negotiation. You have to know what you want, and we want a good deal into the future, particularly for our farmers, but for a whole range of manufacturing goods as well.
Some other timelines, a couple of free trade deals that need to be ratified that the coalition struck. The Australia-India free trade deal, when's that going to be ratified?
Well, we've got both the India Free Trade Agreement and the UK Free Trade Agreement that are before the Treaties Commission at the moment. Both of those processes stopped at the last election when the Parliament was prorogued. I've had to re-establish the committee and refer those two agreements. I've done that. I've asked for a reporting date of the 18th of November, which I believe will be met. And then that gives us time by the end of the year to get through any legislative changes that we might be required as a result of those agreements.
So the end of the year would be your hope on both of them?
Yes, I'd be very confident that both of those agreements will be in place by the end of the year.
Okay, so just finally, the National Anti-Corruption Commission, the big topic at the moment, when would public hearings happen? When do you think ministers should be subject to public hearings, for example?
Well, these are all issues. I mean, what we've established here is an independent body to look at issues of corruption in Australian national life. We're not going to be directing the Commission as to how it's going to conduct its...
No, but you'll give them the indication on when they should be public.
Well, we'll give them the right to be independent, and we'll select the people that'll make the decisions, and we'll give them the legislation, and the legislation has various rules around all of these things. we would expect the Commission to obviously adhere to those rules and conduct decisions in accordance with their charter.